Hi, everybody. We're back and we're joined today by Robert Annis. If you are new to Hidden Compass, I'm Sivani Babu. I'm one of the co-founders.
And I'm Sabine Bergmann. I'm the other co-founder.
And we're in the same place for once, which is exciting.
It's wild.
Yes. And we're here with Robert Annis, who is the author of Eroded Myths, which is in our current issue. It's our Chasing Demons story. After spending nearly a decade as a reporter for the Indianapolis Star, Robert Annis finally broke free of the shackles of gainful employment and now freelances full-time, specializing in outdoor travel journalism. We're excited to have you, Rob. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you.
And we're just going to ask a few questions so that our audience can get to know you better. Of course, you have your profile page on the Hidden Compass website, which everyone should check out if they haven't already, and some videos up. But we, having worked with you, have been thinking of a lot of questions we would like to ask. And one that I thought about a lot through this process, this piece gets really personal. You write about childhood memories, you write about memories with your father, and some of those get complicated and talk about his shortcomings, which is something that is challenging to do, to confront as a person, and even more challenging, I imagine, to have published out in the world. So what is it like putting such a personal story out into the world? Did you have any concerns? How has that been?
I had a lot of concerns as I was writing this piece. One of the major concerns I had was whether my sister would ever speak to me again after she read this. And luckily, she understands that the need for me to kind of explore this and to come to like an understanding of what dad's prejudices, how it affected me, how that plays out in the real world. And so she was very complimentary, and she actually she told me she cried after she read it, just because it was there was a lot of for all the shortcomings of my dad. I mean, there's a lot of love there, and hopefully people can and will understand that. And as far as like the broader worldview or the broader world audience, I mean, we just live in a time where everything, like we're at loggerheads at seemingly everything. So putting this out there, I knew was going to be, it was going to cause some conversation, and that's good. So hopefully, there can be some honest talk between family, friends, and whomever else, about a lot of these issues.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, when we mentioned it and we spoke about it a little bit in our little overview video, one of the things we talked about is just how relevant this is on so many levels right now. From the us reevaluating our history to the conversations people are having with friends and family and people they care about. So I think it's a really important story.
Certainly, and yes. It allows people to see, when you're vulnerable and you go there and you put out that personal story, that hits at a different level for people, and a lot of people I think can relate to your experience in the story.
Definitely. I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about your career, because you went from being a full-time reporter at a newspaper, the Indianapolis Star, to go freelance, which is a significant difference. There's definitely a change there. So why did you do that? And what was that transition like? And how is life different for you now?
Well, in all fairness, I really didn't have a say in the matter. I got laid off with, just like, thousands of other daily newspaper journalists. So, I mean, it was definitely, at the time, I mean, that was my dream job. I mean, I loved being a reporter. I loved being in the middle of things. And when I got laid off, there was a huge transition where you're just so used to the adrenaline and the deadline pressure, where it's 4:55 and you're still trying to find a lead for your story, or you're waiting for a source to call back. So and I love that. I mean, I fed off that for quite a while. And then freelancing came about. I'd done some freelance pieces for magazines in the past, but it was just kind of circumstance where I was doing some freelance work, to kind of supplement my unemployment, and then suddenly, my list of clients started growing, and the money that I was making from freelancing was starting to outpace the money I was making from unemployment. And I realized, working from home or working from, the back of my van later, that it's just a better fit for me. The fact that, now I'm getting to see the world. I'm getting to meet some of the most interesting people that I could have ever hoped to. It's been a great transition, and I can't fathom going back to a 9 to 5, or, well, I guess for like a newspaper reporter, like a 9 to 8, lifestyle ever again. So
right.
Yeah. You mentioned some of the things that you love about what you do, about being able to travel the world and meet people. I want to know a little bit more specifically, what is your favorite thing about what you do?
Oh gosh. It's tough. I mean, I don't know if I could pick one thing per se. I mean, it's just there. I can't remember a time from after I was, I think, 10 years old, where I didn't want to be a writer. And honestly, I'm not really qualified to do anything else. So if I wasn't doing this, I would probably have like a signpost out on the, like a sign out on the street somewhere, or, I would be, who knows, well, actually, it probably wouldn't be that much different from how it is now. I'd still probably be, living in my van half the time. And but yeah, it's the fact that I can write and explore my creative side, while I can go to beautiful places, like Theodore Roosevelt National Park, or Cuba, and see these places that I could only dream about before. I mean, there are very few things about this gig that I don't totally love.
Yeah, and not just being able to go to places, but then also as a writer and a journalist, we have that excuse to be able to walk up to people and say, hey, I want to talk to you, and I'm so curious about this. Can you tell me everything about your life or this issue?
Right.
We have an excuse to ask those questions too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys, probably have better luck than I do, because, like, people see me, I'm like, like a 6-foot Yeti, like walking towards them. And they're probably gonna, run away in the opposite direction. But
I don't know. It might depend on the setting, Rob.
Exactly. So we like to leave our audience and readers with sort of places that they can go next and things they can check out. And so one of the questions we want to ask is, what's the last book or article or podcast that you recommended to someone else?
Oh gosh.
Or what's a book or podcast or article you've recommended to someone else recently?
Well, I mean, this is totally away from the travel realm.
Yeah.
But Tyler Mahan Co. Does a podcast called Cocaine and Rhinestones, which is about country music and like some of the the stories and the hidden underbelly. So that is my absolute favorite pot, other than Hidden Compass. It's my absolute favorite.
Well done.
Yeah, it's my favorite podcast, and and this season he's doing the entire season on George Jones.
Nice.
So yeah, I just incredible, and the amount of research he does. And the first two podcasts of the season dealing with George Jones, he gives a half-hour intro where he talks about nothing but bullfighting. And so and so now we're just kind of waiting for all those all those pieces to come together so we can actually figure out what George Jones and bullfighting have in common. So.
I love it. As a longtime country music fan, I will definitely check that one out. See, I have a new podcast.
There you go.
Yeah.
I will warn you though, the podcasts are like maybe a couple hours long.
Okay.
If you listen to like the liner notes, and it's addictive. So you'll if you start now, you'll probably still be listening 6 or 7 hours later.
Good to know. I will plan accordingly.
Good for road trips.
Yes,
exactly.
For sure. Well, Rob, it has been such a pleasure to work with you. We're so proud of this story, and it has been wonderful to see people contributing to your campaign. So for those who aren't familiar, every story we publish at Hidden Compass, we publish alongside a fundraising campaign. And so each of our contributors, they get 50% of those proceeds on top of what we pay them. The other 50% goes to us at Hidden Compass, so we can continue to work with amazing people like Robert Annis. And Rob, I'm wondering what would you like to say to the people who have already contributed to your fundraising campaign so far?
Besides thank you.
Yes. That's a good way to start.
Yeah. I thank you. My wife thanks you. I'm sure the people that we owe money to thank you. Yeah, it actually makes it makes a huge help. Especially for a story like this, where when I first pitched it, I didn't imagine that 6 months later we'd still be like on deadline and trying to work out like aspects of the story and ending, and in the grand scheme of things, I'm so glad we did, because from the first draft of the article to what actually made the screen, it's a world of difference, and I've got nothing, and I can't thank you guys and Katie, who was an amazing editor. I can't thank you guys enough for putting in that time and effort, but it does take money in order to be able to do all that from your end and on my end. So anytime people can read something and feel feel like they that they could contribute and to help out, I mean, that's remarkable. And once again, thank you.
And we will echo that on our end.
Absolutely.
Thank you to everyone who has contributed, and it is such an honor and a privilege to be able to publish pieces like this, and exciting for us to give people the opportunity to connect with the storytellers directly. And as a reader, I've always wanted to have the opportunity, after finishing a piece where I felt really moved by the story, to be able to connect with the journalist or the storyteller more. And so that is one of the reasons why we do this at Hidden Compass, so that you have that opportunity.
Definitely. So from us as well, thank you to everyone who has contributed, who has read, who is watching right now. And Robert, thank you again for spending some time with us today. It was a lot of fun chatting with you.
Ditto. Thank you very much.
Excellent. And for the rest of you, we'll see you next week.
Take care, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.